Your Next is a 2011 slasher revenge film directed by Adam Wingard, who would go on to direct Hollywood films such as Kong vs. Godzilla. The film was produced on a $1 million budget and grossed 26 times its budget. The film follows the Davison family, who reunites after being estranged for several years due to some drama. Masked slashers decide to crash the event. The film stars Sharni Vinson and Joe Swanberg. Howdy folks, welcome back to Garage Slasher-thon, where every day for the month of October we revisit a slasher movie. Today we're talking about Your Next. I remember when this movie came out, everyone was jizzing their pants over it. Everyone was going apeshit. This was like the best movie ever when it came out. Dude, it's like Home Alone, but with slashers, dude. The number of people who said that when it came out, thinking it was like their original opinion. I didn't like it when it came out. I was like, wow, this is actually kind of boring. But that was just my opinion. I just rewatched it. What do I think of it? My thoughts haven't changed. I still don't really like this movie, unfortunately. I do like the fact that everyone loves it, and as someone who really likes indie horror movies, I'm really happy that this is like a movie on a $1 million budget that grossed a fuck ton of moolah, but yeah, it never just did it for me. The thing I did like about it is the thing that everyone likes about it, is that it's a slasher movie with a female at the center, and you're kind of expecting it to be like a helpless scream queen. But no, somewhere in the second act, she just twists around and just becomes a girl boss, which I think is interesting in this movie, and it does put a spin on the genre. It kind of reminded me of what Tom Savini did with the Night of the Living Dead remake, where Night of the Living Dead just had this woman like, ah! And then the remake, she's like halfway through, she just becomes a badass. Kind of puts a twist on the genre, which I like. That said, it really does feel like a product of its time. Really cheap jump scares. Shaky cam, a lot of it in this movie. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's going on. And again, it's a low-budget movie. Sometimes you're trying to hide some details. But at the end of the day, it just makes it really bleh to watch. Characters are very bland. They're either mustache-twirling bad guys, or they're just generic and not much to them. This is supposed to be a family drama at the end of the day. A lot of characters are arguing with each other and talking over each other, but I didn't understand the motives of everyone, which is something you want from a family drama. You want there to be the weird uncle who drinks all the time and all that stuff. You know, you want it to kind of have some character like that, but this movie doesn't really have that. There's a plot twist at the end of the movie where the character reveals his true motives, and I'm going to spoil it. So it turns out that the reason why this family is getting terrorized is because one of the sons wants to inherit the money. It's Killer Joe, it's Fargo, it's Double Identity. There's so many movies that kind of have that premise to it. So when it happens to in this movie, I'm not really all that impressed. And I remember a lot of people talking about the Home Alone-ness of this movie, which it does have those Home Alone moments, but I don't really feel like they paid off all that well. I feel like this movie could have been a lot more violent, but it kind of just shies away. Like I said, there's a lot of shaky cam, but it's just shying away from the brutality just a bit, to the point where I'm like, why? You're a $1 million movie. You should be taking those risks that a big budget movie like a Conjuring that's going to be PG-13, those movies can't do. Like, I feel like it could have been a lot more violent. The one moment that does make me squirm a bit is when there's that wire going through the door. That was a really good set piece, and this movie does have really good set pieces sprinkled throughout. A lot of them do feel random, but a lot of them do feel good. Like I said, that wire moment, the moment where arrows are going through the window and they're trying to dodge the arrows. There's some very clever moments, but there's also some moments of what the fuck. One moment that always just struck me as like shock value. I don't have a problem with shock value. Yeah, I like my movies like I like my women. Gross and cheap. Sorry. But yeah, there's like a moment in this movie where a girl is kind of telling... So the couple that's in cahoots with the slashers, they're about to have sex next to the dead mom. And it just feels like a scene out of nowhere. It just kind of feels like it's there for cheap laughs. And it really doesn't fit with the movie. I really wonder why they decided to include that. The movie does have a dark, twisted sense of humor, but I don't really feel like it lands most of the time. There's a lot of meta humor as well, which, if there's one thing I hate, is meta humor in horror movies. Because most of the time it's like a movie does a cliche, and like, oh, we'll get away with it because we'll acknowledge it. And I'm like, that's not how it works, dude. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. It's a product of its time. I respect the movie for what it did. And obviously this kind of launched Adam Wingard's career into space. He'd later do the sequel to Blair Witch Project, or the remake. And he'd after that do Godzilla vs. King Kong, which is another big movie. Who am I to judge? This guy is making moolah, living in Malibu, going to strip clubs and doing blow. Meanwhile, I'm in this fucking dusty room, probably getting like some black lung just breathing the air in here. Who am I to judge? All right, guys, did you like this movie? Am I in the minority? I probably am. Comment below, let me know, and I'll see you guys around. Take care.